Radio Lawrence. Hey, you found it. This is the Radio Lawrence podcast where we discuss local art, politics, and community. Thanks for joining us as we host conversations with the people that make up the fabric of our town. I'm your host, Shane Powers. Joining us today is Janine Colter from the Lawrence, Kansas Juneteenth organization. Janine, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So glad to have you here. Let's not bury the lead. I've got a lot of more tertiary topics that I want to cover with you today, including Black history in Lawrence at large. We did just finish out Black History Month, but it's never a bad time to discuss our local history, right? But I do want to get started with the Juneteenth organization and your personal involvement with that organization. So let's start there. How did you get involved with the Juneteenth organization?
It was a topic of conversation when I was a business owner downtown, and we were talking about how we needed to have a Juneteenth celebration. There used to be a lot of African American, Black celebrations throughout the city, and that we needed to get back to it. Learning more about the Civil War and what Kansas' role was, we felt it was necessary. So we gathered, we worked with the Boys and Girls Club here in Lawrence. We were under them for several years. That started in 2003. And then in 2022, we were able to become a nonprofit and a 501c3.
You were at it for 19 years before you became an official nonprofit organization.
That is correct.
Wow. That's a lot of dedication and stick-to-itiveness.
We felt it was necessary. There's a lot of great history here in Douglas County, and we just wanted to be able to tell our stories. We wanted to celebrate. But not only that, Lawrence always has said that we're the city of the arts, and so we needed to show up and show out, and that's our intentions, to educate, to do a multicultural celebration every year. So it's growing, and we're really enjoying the work that we're doing.
Juneteenth is the newest federal holiday, unless they've declared a new holiday recently that I'm not aware of. Juneteenth is the newest federal holiday. When did Juneteenth become a federal holiday?
Juneteenth became a federal holiday under Biden, and I believe that was his first tenure as the president of the United States, that he did make Juneteenth a holiday. I'm sorry, I don't have the date right in front of me.
That's okay. What is the cultural significance of Juneteenth for anyone listening who might not quite understand what exactly this holiday is?
Well, it recognizes that slavery had ended. You know, the Emancipation Proclamation that, was signed in 1963, but it took 2 years to get all the way down to Texas so that slaves knew that they were free, and they celebrated. The significance is that with all the things that are going on in this nation, and there's so many different groups that get to celebrate, why not celebrate Juneteenth? Slavery's over. We want to break bread. We want to share our culture. We want to tell our stories. And it is very significant in our U.S. history.
Brilliant. And so you all have formed this 503c nonprofit organization, and obviously you've dedicated now over a decade to that effort. Is the city involved in this in any way, or are you completely a standalone entity?
We are a standalone entity, but the city is always involved. When we do our celebrations and things like that, we have to go through the city. We have to make sure that we're in compliance with everything that we're doing. They encourage us. We're invited to different groups and organizations like Unmistakably Lawrence, the Arts Roundtable, things like that. But I do think that we have support of the city.
That's a good feeling. You put on a very vibrant and elaborate production every year on Juneteenth. I remember the Macy Gray performance was outstanding, a really great event. But there's a lot of expense and effort involved in putting on a show like that. I mean, paying Macy Gray to perform is just the start. There's stage setup and stage, hands, and there's so many spoons in that particular pot. And then, of course, someone has to organize all of these people, and there's so much that goes into a production like that. I'm interested in what kind of things you do for fundraising to, provide the money to make these dreams come true. And I know that you all recently had a gala where Kevin Wilmot spoke. What other fundraising efforts do you make throughout the year, and how can the people of Lawrence support your efforts and endeavors?
We also have bowling fundraisers, small ones. We might have a Chipotle night, things like that. What we do is that we grant write, we ask for sponsorship, and then, of course, our fundraisers. As a new nonprofit, 501c3, we are learning, and we're moving into spaces that we've never been in before. So it continues to be a growing phase for us. Are we looking for donors? Are we looking for partnerships? Absolutely. We're just not there yet. Understandable.
How many people are involved in the organization on a full-time basis? Do you have a volunteer staff? Like, as I just said, obviously there's a lot that goes into just the one day of celebration, but I'm certain that your organization is busy 365 days a year. How many people are involved in this?
So we have a 10-seat board chair, and then we have 18 people involved in our membership. We're always looking for people to join our membership. This is a voluntary group. No one has a paid position that's involved with Juneteenth.
Incredible. How would someone go about getting involved if they wanted to volunteer, or if they wanted to, be on any of these committees or planning in execution? How do people get involved with your organization?
Okay. Well, you can go to our website. It's lawrenceksjuneteenth.org. And we have up on our menu and everything if you want to become a member, if you want to volunteer. We also, during the celebration, our events chair will send out a link to see if people want to sign up to volunteer.
Perfect.
You had talked about the celebration down at the park, and you're right. We have the privilege of having Mammoth have a board seat, and the work that they do, people do not understand. They start at 6 a.m. in the morning, coming with their engineers down there to build the stage. They also make sure that we are in compliance. They bring in our back line, which that's all your instruments, your turntables, your sound systems, your mics, and everything like that. But also make sure that we're in compliance with the city as far as emergency preparedness, vehicles needing to move in and out, making sure that we're not having sound bouncing off the homes and the residents downtown. So we are fortunate to have some, a pretty amazing and a locally owned company here that supports our organization.
That's a magnificent partnership to have. Can you give us any teasers, any a little taste of what you might have up your sleeve for this year's celebration?
This year's celebration continues to change. We're having visitors coming. And so day by day, and the information that comes out on what we can do, what we can't do, has been kind of challenging. We are definitely involved in all the different safety, what it's going to look like this year. But we're definitely celebrating in a very fun way for all the visitors that will be visiting Kansas.
I'm very excited to see what you put together. And I think that, yes, with all of that influx of tourism and having the Algerian soccer team here, I think that you're on track to have the biggest celebration yet.
Yes, we kick off on the 20th, which there is a game that evening. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Working with a lot of different organizations that are also bringing activities down there that we may have not experienced before, but we're not compromising the integrity of what Juneteenth means as well. So always wanting a multicultural event so that we can just be good neighbors, that we all learn about each other, that we all interact with each other. And it has always been successful, no incidents or anything. So that's always fun. And the feedback and the surveys that we get is that this educational tool on such a large platform has always been well received.
Beautiful. What other elements are there to your celebration beyond musical performances? You have displays set up in South Park, right? And there are you tell me, I won't tell you what you do at your thing.
Well, one of the big things that we truly enjoy is our kids' corner. You know, the kids get to come and do activities over there. Everything is free, from their meals to their activities. Whatever they're involved in, we make sure that we have those tools and resources down there because we want it to be a very fun, eventful day for them. We do health, wellness, educational pieces, arts and crafts. So I love the young people. And so that's always a big thing for us. How do we engage with our young people here in town? And then we have our oral histories. And what we do is we go back into local families and we invite them to come and tell their story. And we film it, we show it at the event, and really some remarkable stories. What I like about that is that they have a voice in what they want to share. Meaning, you know, people don't get to add to their stories or whatever, but we also give them the interview so that they can share it with generations to come of their family. So that's always a great thing. We have our young people that do the essays. We always give a theme. Last year, we changed it that they could do it through music, poetry, or however they wanted to present. And that is always wonderful. The theme, I think, this year is what did you learn in the past that is helping you in the future? And I may not be saying that right, but that's what it is. But we get some incredible essays, and they're powerful. And we've also had other organizations say, hey, can we, invite your essay winners to our event because, they enjoyed them. We had one young man that won last year. And there was a lady that worked for the state library, and she's like, I want to authenticate and make sure his essay is original. And then she wanted to have it published in the Kansas State Library.
Wow. I want to hang for just a moment on these local tales that I can't remember the name that you gave to it, but that is an expressly Lawrence piece of local history, of Black history, and it's a really neat thing. Are those stories from previous years compiled somewhere where people can watch or listen to them, or is it sort of a you got to be there to see it situation?
I have seen them on YouTube, where you can go back and you can look at them. We run them on our social medias as well. But yes, that storytelling. There's a lot of families here that have been here since the 1800s. And so to share their stories is amazing, and their stories. You know what I'm saying? Nobody is coming in and adding or taking away. They're just being honest about, this is who we are, and that is so important.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. I'm going to apply a little pressure here to somebody that I've been trying to get on the show. Have you spoken with Michael Hamm?
I do know Michael Hamm. I have not spoken with Michael Hamm. Actually, Michael Hamm's sister is our vice president.
Oh, Mike is a really great guy. And I was speaking to him, I think it was on New Year's Eve. And we were just, hanging out and talking. And as I listened to him speak, I was like, your family has a very long history in this town, don't they? And he said, yeah, I want to say he's the fourth generation of Hamms that, his parents and grandparents lived on the east side. And I was like, you have to come on the show and tell this story about this lengthy history that you have with East Lawrence. And he said, yes, absolutely. But Michael is an incredibly busy man, and we've not been able to connect yet. So like I said, I'm going to use my platform right now to lean on him a little bit. And also, I would love to see you publish the same interview, a better version than I can do.
Well, Michael, he's a musician as well. That's the Michael that you're talking about,
yes.
Because I know the senior. Michael, you do have a strong history. We've been talking about it through the Lawrence, Kansas Juneteenth organization. I've even reached out to your aunt and I've said, hey, we've got to get your story recorded. But thank you for everything that you're doing in this community.
I love it. I hope Mike loves it and doesn't get upset with me. So is there anything else that you would like to share about specifically your organization or your event before we move on to a broader discussion about Black history in Lawrence?
Well, our applications are out to become a vendor, food vendor, retail vendor, or a tabler. Our food vendors, the food truck vendors, I'm very excited about because we used to have food truck festivals here and they kind of broke apart and everything, and a lot of it was due to cost and stuff like that. Well, if you have applied and purchased for being a food truck vendor at our celebration, you can go to the Lawrence Douglas County Fire and Medical Team, and they will look over your truck. They'll review your truck, make sure that it's food ready, and they will give you a license for a year. And there's no cost to the food truck operators.
That's really
so
great.
Inspection. I'm sorry, I couldn't get the word inspection out.
It happens. You know, you can be the most eloquent person in the world, but when someone puts a microphone in front of your mouth and says, "Go ahead and talk into that," I personally will frequently just kind of seize up and be like, I don't have anything to say, or my words just elude me. So.
But we did create that space because we wanted to show our crafts. We wanted to have the foods that we like. We wanted it to be a space for entrepreneurs to come out and crafters to come out and be able to show what they do, but also earn an income off of that day, on being down there and selling their items.
Absolutely. And that, food is a very important part of culture in all cultures and to all people. And so, yes, being able to share your cuisines and figuring out how to kind of remove some of the official barriers while still maintaining, regulatory food safety. And there's a balance to be struck there. And I'm glad that you found a way to strike it and to bring some foods that we might not get on a daily basis to your event.
Oh, our food vendors do very well. All of our vendors do very well, but just things that you normally don't get here in Lawrence. We don't have a place that sells greens necessarily, or, mac and cheese to the point of, there's just that cultural piece where it's baked. It's not just stirred up, boiling on the top of a stove. But it is amazing, just the food that is down there. That's probably my fat day. Excuse me. That's probably not politically correct to say that. But I go down and support all the vendors because their menus are so wonderful. We had a corn dog vendor. Off the chain. Who would think that someone could take a hot dog and do the things that they do? So there's a lot of good food, ribs, chicken, greens, mac and cheese, fish. Oh my gosh, fish. Yes, so there's a lot that smash burgers. There's a lot of good cuisine down there. And they usually sell out and have to come back. A story. We had a new vendor last year and they were kind of walking away from the park. And I was like, hey, are you guys leaving? Did you sell out? They said, no, ma'am, we just taking a break. They said, we never sell out. And then that Sunday, just going through social media and got a big shout out from them. And they was like, they loved the park. they love the diversity. And they said, but Lawrence, you love our funnel cakes. They sold out, so that makes you feel really good, that our vendors and stuff are doing well down there. And then if I may talk about the tablers, we've had boys, big brothers and big sisters down there. They've been able to get people to sign up. We also talk about, just different things in the city where people can get involved. I know the NAACP has gotten new members from being down there. When you have, public health, and when you have so many different areas that are out there, I think that people are heard down at our celebration and that they're able to engage with the people that are attending.
It's really, really beautiful. So I would like to move now into a broader discussion about Black history, specifically in Lawrence. And I want to discuss with you what resources are available to us.
I will say that several people across the nation have reached out to us, and that's because of the different groups that are here. And it's like their family leads back to Lawrence, Kansas, Douglas County. And so we're appreciative of that. There is also the Clinton Museum, where they have a lot of Black history out there. That's where Bloomington is. That's where the lake is now, Clinton. That was all Black owned.
Okay. I'm not familiar with a museum out there.
There's Clinton Museum out there. Watkins Museum, they have a lot of information, and they always engage. They're very welcoming. They're set up very well, that if you go in and you ask questions, they're going to direct you because they know the work. And so, we really enjoy working with them. They put on the Underground Railroad tour for us every year. And up until, I believe, this year, because cities are connecting with the Underground Railroad through Kansas City, Topeka, and everything else, during our event is the only time that you can go on that tour.
And how would somebody get involved with that tour? They sign up at Watkins?
They would sign up. We put out a link and everything. We advertise it and stuff, and it lasts about an hour, and it's sold out, but it's a free event.
And how many sites and stops are there on that tour? There's
usually about 3 to 4.
Okay.
And so they try to change it up from year to year and see how it looks. Carrie Alterburn always comes out as John Brown and does an amazing job. He really does. I give it to him. He goes into character, and it is fun. It's really fun. But, my whole thing is that being a good neighbor, I think it starts with us being kind to each other. And then if you want to learn more, break bread with people, talk to people, ask questions. The public library has a bunch of resources here. There's Black Lawrence. There's the NAACP. There's Black Lives Matter. There's Sisters with a Purpose. There's different organizations that are doing the work here in town.
Sisters with a Purpose is one that I've not heard of before. What do they do?
I think that they were more in support with families, in trying to assist with families through diversity and things like that, just being a support group,
okay,
with families.
Well, Janine, I think that's largely what I've got for you today. We have one more section of the interview that is called the lightning round, and it's going to be fine. I'm going to ask you about 10 questions that are germane to really nothing. They're just fun little get-to-know-you kind of thing, and you can answer those questions in as many or as few words as you see fit. No explanation is necessary if you don't desire, and I won't be asking any follow-up questions. Are you ready for the lightning round?
Yes.
What is one song that you turn off immediately?
Heavy metal.
What is your go-to karaoke song?
I would say Home.
What is your favorite date night dinner spot in Lawrence?
I like Fork and Tumbler. We do Texas Roadhouse as well. But we usually leave if my husband and I have a date night, it's usually that we're really trying to escape and have a date night. So we usually will leave Lawrence and try different restaurants in different areas. But we do frequent restaurants here in town just on a weekly, monthly basis.
Gotcha. Are you superstitious?
No.
What is one irrational fear that you have?
The future of my grandchildren in this nation.
I don't know that that's irrational.
Well, it's irrational because it shouldn't be.
Hear, hear. What is the furthest you have ever traveled from home?
I would have to say the Dominican Republic, but I've also gone to the St. Thomas's and stuff. I like to travel out of the country.
All right, Janine, that's all I've got for you today. I really appreciate you coming to sit down with me. It's been really great speaking with you. And remind everybody again one more time on the way out how they can find the Lawrence Juneteenth organization online, how they can get involved, and important dates, things like that. Give us your elevator pitch.
Okay. So it's lawrenceksjuneteenth.org. That is our website. We have all of our links up and everything. You can go to our social media outlets. We're on Twitter. We're on X, which I think is Twitter now. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. And of course, we have a Facebook group and page. So we hope to see you all out June 20th. We'll be at the park, and we have some amazing, fantastic things happening down there. Shane, thank you.
It's been my pleasure. I really appreciate you coming on the show. Have a great day.
You do the same.